New characters and new crossovers revealed? Let's begin. Welcome back to another episode, guys. We've got a lot to talk about, but not a lot to talk about this week, as this week we're getting basically just character days. Yes, this week we're getting 2 character days. We're getting Thief's character day on the 7th of May. That's going to be his 6th character day, meaning he's getting a special portrait. We're getting Embalmer's character day on the 11th. There's going to be his 6th character day, and it's going to give him also a special portrait. This week, as far as I can tell, we're not getting a patch, at least on the calendar. It doesn't show that there's any patch this week at all, so maybe we're not getting any. We could expect that Peddler will be added to rank modes, although I don't really know. She might just be added to game modes. I believe she wasn't added last week, so yeah, that's something. Apart from that, that's all we're getting this week, so we have a lot to talk about for the future, so let's do that right now. First of all, the most important thing that we're talking about is the character reveals. They've revealed 3 new characters, including 2 survivors and 1 hunter. One of the new survivors is called Escapologist. His name is Efron Weiss. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He seems to be coming very soon. Just a few hours before I was writing this script, actually, they revealed his character trailer, meaning he's probably, as I can expect, going to release with the next essence. So that's exciting to see. We haven't really seen what his essence skin is, so I wonder what his abilities are going to be. Maybe he can escape matches and instantly win matches. I really doubt that, but I can imagine it's going to be quite a strong ability if he does have one. The other survivor that was revealed is called Lanternist. Her name is Amanda Gaddis. I think that's how you pronounce it. In her hand, she's holding some sort of old projector, and in my opinion, haven't really read anybody else's opinion, it looks like it has a cat reference on it and the eye reference connected to Anne's Law and also Hermit's Law, but maybe I'm wrong about that. It just seems like it is. That cat, I've forgotten what the name of it, the outer entity kind of thing that's related to that. But yeah, this character is going to release some point this year, but I don't really know if this character is going to come before or after the new hunter that is called Queuist. Queuist as in the person who plays pool. Yeah, very interesting. This character is going to release on the second half of 2025, and he's a very interesting looking character. I really like his kind of cool hairstyle, but I'm not completely sure about the whole clothing stuff. He looks more like a kind of Joseph copy, but yeah, very interesting in my opinion. One of the people who check my notes, that's called Charlotte, noticed a lion motif in this character's design, and also the fact that he's locked in a glass cage. So very interesting. Apart from new characters, we have some other things to talk about. The best performance voting event has finally finished, and we now know which ones are the winners. So let's talk about all of the characters that will be getting skins in the future, including the best performance winners that were Nightwatch and Enchantress in global, and Mercenary and Gardener in China. By the way, if you guys can notice, I am a little sick, so that's why I sound a little weird. I've had a cold for a few days, so yeah, it's pretty tough. And the deduction star winners that we talked about a while ago were Barmaid, Knight, Dream Witch, Lawyer, Acrobat, and Nightmare. So all of these characters will be getting special skins, I believe, next year, if I remember correctly. I'm excited to see all of those ones. I'm surprised that Mercenary won, and also Gardener as well, so that's really cool. I really like the fact that Enchantress is one. A new thing that they revealed is they revealed the new main story event. A new main story event that's coming sometime. They haven't really announced when it's coming. It's currently in development alongside fresh ID series characters. I don't know what it means by ID characters. Does it mean like characters that are alternate versions? I don't really know. The name of this main story event is called Cage of Yesteryear, and I'm very excited to see which characters come along with this. As we can see in the picture, if you look carefully at the shadow that's behind Entomologist, we can see what her character design is going to be, and it looks like we will be getting Entomologist's hunter version. Seems like she's got an insect theme that would make a lot of sense. NetEase announced a new skin series that's coming this summer. The series is called Whimsy. That makes me think exciting and fun, but the trailer was very dark, at least colored darkly. Maybe, I don't really know, maybe it's different. Maybe the skins are very bright and colorful. The first skin that we'll be releasing for this series is going to be for Weeping Clown. I believe you can see it in the trailer. And if you look really carefully at the trailer, you might notice some other things that are there, including a reference to Axe Boy, possibly Enchantress, Guard 26, Forward, Hellember, First Officer, Professor, and Sculptor. So maybe these characters will be the ones that will be getting future Whimsy series skins. Very interesting indeed, but I don't know how long this series will go on for. Probably quite a while. NetEase announced a ton of crossover news, but not giving us that much in the way of knowing when they're going to happen. I think the most minor crossover announcement that we got was the fact that we're getting the promised Neverland crossover return on June 19th. Now, this is probably going to include all of the characters returning from part 1 and and part 2. So that's going to be Isabella, Emma, Norman, Ray, Don, and Gilda from part 1. And then Mujika, Sonju, Sazi, and Peter Ratri, I believe that's how you pronounce it, also from part 2. I believe most of those were essences, and except for a couple of free characters that you could get from part 1. Another crossover they announced was the Identity 5, and this is a Chinese word, so I don't really know what it says. They call it the Palace Museum Classics crossover. This is going to be a crossover with a special museum called the Palace Museum Classics Beijing Palace Watching Museum. So this is just a museum. I don't really know what this is going to include. Maybe it's going to be similar to the Art Inc. kind of one that we had with the Wu Chang skin. I don't really know. Another strange crossover that we're getting is Identity 5 with the Shanghai Astronomy Museum crossover. We do know a little bit more about this because they've announced that if you complete the event, you'll be able to claim Gardener's A-tier skin for free that's going to be connected to this. So we know that we're getting an A-tier Gardener skin that should be astronomy connected. Another crossover is Identity 5 and Paper Bridge. Now, if you don't know what Paper Bridge is, I also didn't know what it was. I looked it up online, and it seems to be a game that you can purchase on Steam for quite a good price, so I might even play it myself. Paper Bride, according to Steam, is a Chinese horror mystery puzzle game. You will play as the groom to search for the truth and have bizarre encounters, gradually learning about the dark mystic custom in the bride's home village and a story from the past. So yeah, this definitely seems like it would match Identity 5's theme. We've had multiple different kind of niche video games in the past, although I hadn't really heard of this one. It seems to have really positive reviews, at least if I remember correctly. What we do know is they've confirmed that there's going to be an S-tier skin for Perfumer for the character Nie Molly, an A-tier skin for Antiquarian called Tao Meng Yang, and an A-tier for Novelist called Qiao Qi. And these are all going to be available in the in-game store of Identity 5 for Echoes only. I don't know any of these characters. I haven't played the game. Maybe I will though, because this is something that might be of my taste. In my opinion, the biggest crossover announcement they made, and this is one that I'm excited about personally, is the Frieren Beyond Journey's End crossover. Now, I'm a big fan of this anime. I have watched it and I liked it. I think Frieren is a really cool character, and I think the rest of the characters are really awesome as well. Great story, great thought-provoking as well. The description of this crossover is that Frieren and her group will travel to the manor. So my guess here, and this is just my personal guess, is that we'll probably just be getting, I think, 4 different characters in this crossover. It's possible we could get an additional 3 or more, but I'm going to talk about those ones. The ones that I expect we'll be getting is we're probably going to be getting Frieren. That's probably going to be the S tier. There's also Fern, Stark, and Sign. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Those are the main characters that go with Frieren in the anime. And then, of course, there are some other characters connected to her kind of backstory. That's, of course, Helsen, Helter, and Himmel that might come with this crossover, or maybe that's going to be a part 2. At some point they're going to make part 2 to the anime, so that probably means that those characters will be included. I don't know, but I can expect 4 characters at least, but you never know, we might not get any of them. As for some more content that they announced a new esports series. So we recently talked about how the OPH series just ended with the release of the OPH Joker and then OPH Lily, and that we were going to be getting one for the team BLK. Now, BLK skins have also been revealed, and we even talked about which ones they were because we guessed correctly from the OPH trailers. The characters are BLK Aesop, so that's going to be Embalmer, BLK Tracy, that is Mechanic, BLK Eli, that's going to be Seer, and BLK Ganji, that would be Batter. Now, you might notice there's a hunter missing here. If we take into consideration the OPH trailers, these characters were being chased by the OPH hunter that was Joker, meaning that the survivors were being chased by Geisha in her base form. So that's probably what we're going to expect for the extra character. There's going to be Geisha getting a BLK Geisha skin some point in the future. The skins look really cool. They have a really cool theme. I think I prefer this theme over the OPH ones. I wasn't a big fan of those, but yeah, overall, quite good. NetEase announced a charity event that I don't think we have many details about. It's just called the Free Lunch Program. Now, if you participate in this event, you'll be able to get an A-tier skin for Guard 26. I don't know what the Free Lunch Program is. I was assuming this was something connected to some type of program that's happening in China, but then why is this a charity event? Who is this helping? Maybe it's helping people who don't have lunches. Where? I don't know. NetEase announced a new game mode called Enchanted Forest. Now, I would be excited about this, but I've been talking about this for quite a long time now. There are too many game modes in Identity 5. A lot have been kind of thrown by the wayside. I'm talking about the dodgeball game that is Frenzy Rhapsody and stuff. I don't think Identity V needs more. Maybe we could just have more game modes made by Netties themselves in the scribbled ideas section, and that can just be something they've made in that. But yeah, I don't think we need more. This kind of announcement doesn't really give us any details apart from what we can see in the text and also the image that's here. Team up in pairs to fight against other players, search for bonfires, collect equipment and enhancements. So this could be like a Fortnite-esque mode, or you know, whatever the other game is that's really popular, Apex Legends, something like that. I don't really know what it's going to be, but yeah, I'm not sure if we need more game modes in Identity V. I feel like we need more maps and more stuff added to the main game mode, but that's just my personal opinion. And I wanted to give you guys a quick reminder that next week we'll be getting the Line Friends crossover return. So that's going to be the return of the previous Line crossover, and then a few weeks later after that we'll be getting the Line Friends Part 2 crossover. And the winners of Koa, cover your ears if you don't want to hear spoilers, was the Team Zeta, meaning that Team Zeta will probably be getting some champion skins at some point in the future, of course. If you haven't already, make sure you check that video that's on the screen right there, because YouTube thinks you'll like it.